Good afternoon. Welcome to the for April 2023 City of Glens Falls Planning Board meeting. We'll start the agenda this afternoon with the review and potential approval of the March 7th, 2023 meeting minutes. We'll start with Mr. Lanfair.
No changes.
No comments?
No comments.
Ms. Andrews? All good?
No comments.
Ms. Collins?
No comments.
I'm sorry.
No
Mr. Brado, any
comments.
comments from you?
I don't think forward anyway.
Well, you can still comment.
No comment, no change.
I had nothing as well, so I would make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes from 7 March 2023 as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our first item on our agenda this afternoon is old business. It is site plan and architectural review, site plan 230003 and architectural review 230002 for Jeff Flagg, the Economic Development Director representing the City of Glens Falls, seeking site plan and architectural review for the proposed Glens Falls Market Center to be located on tax map number 309.28-1-9 and 309.28-1-10, commonly known as 51 to 63 South Street. Mr. Flagg.
Good afternoon. It's not working, that's okay. Good afternoon. Should it be working?
Brad?
In a second.
Hello. It's not working. I
I
know, it's not a problem for me.
You'll catch it.
Good afternoon, members. My name is Jeff Flagg. I'm the Economic Development Director for the City of Glens Falls. We're here before you tonight. This afternoon, I'm here with Scott Miller, one of the architects with CLA Site, working on the Market Center. Oh, there it goes. This is hopefully the culmination of a rather lengthy process we've been working on for some time. We came before the planning board with initial designs, I think probably back in the fall, maybe around October or so. We subsequently brought official applications before the board last month. There were some procedural reasons along with some questions that the board had that we want to address tonight, but as well as to answer any additional questions in hopes of getting approval both for site plan and architectural review. So with that, as I said, this is Scott from CLA Site. I don't know if we have anything we need to show necessarily, but obviously we're going to try and get those up if anybody has any questions or needs to have the issues that we were talking about previously to be addressed.
Great.
You want just a couple things?
Yeah, sure. Again, Scott Miller from CLA Site. And as Jeff said, we're here for a few things this evening. One would be to close the public hearing. Second would be for a final seeker determination. We have worked with SHPO, and you guys have drawings, site plan, and details of what we're proposing to address SHPO's comments. We did hear back from SHPO today, and I do have a sign-off letter from them, and I have copies that I can pass out to the board if you don't mind.
Yes, I would appreciate it.
And then meeting that seeker requirement, we're hoping that you guys can make a decision on that, and then as Jeff mentioned, final site plan approval for tonight. So let me just pass out these letters so you guys can have those and put those in the record.
While Scott's doing that, I believe even you can weigh in on this, the secret process requires, I think, a couple more days, right?
We've heard back from everybody except the Department of State.
Okay.
Thanks. Yep. Yep.
So if the board had any questions on the updated site plan and the detail that we put together for SHPO, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I do have the comments from our architectural consultant, Mr. Brown, who's unable to attend tonight's meeting. But the items on here for Market Center, he had no concerns regarding the revisions that have been provided, and everything that has been provided is accepted to his office. So we'll get that out of the way first. I will start with Mr. Belden. Any comments on the revised drawings that we've seen here this evening?
No, that's great. We've gone over this stuff before, so that it's been addressed. So
Ms. Martin?
I would agree. It looks great.
Ms. Collins?
Good, everything looks good, I just want to see more plants, greenery.
We're working on that.
I think, yeah, I think that based on that, last round that we had. Ms. Andrews?
No comments. I'm glad to see the fencing or the, I don't know what they're calling it.
It's a knee wall
A knee
that's
wall.
gonna have a brick facade on it that will match the adjacent buildings, and then blue stone cap. If you notice on the detail, what we're actually allowing on the interior of the site, that's gonna act as a seat wall as well, so people can actually sit on it.
Okay.
And then we have the wrought iron component that's added to it, so it's a total height of approximately 4 feet.
Good, good. That's all.
Ms.
I
Hunt?
think it's great.
All set there? So I too have been through them. I took a look at all the stuff that was added in for us, for the things that we had looked at and the comments that we'd made. I do appreciate the response to all those items. The only question that I have regarding this new fence and seat area, is there anything that you have anticipated to keep skateboards on? Because that's a perfect
Yeah,
grade.
make those little corner.
They
Yeah.
do make the edges for those.
Yeah, on the exterior, we're not concerned because
No,
it's gonna be a
too
planting
close.
bed
Too close to
and
the
it's too
fence.
close to the fence.
Yeah.
The inside, we could add some,
They make little.
devices that will hinder skateboarders from, coming up there and,
I think that that's,
Using it as a rail.
for the benefit
Yes.
of all involved. I think that that's, while I enjoy that sport, watching it on TV, having to have it outside my
In
window
skateboard
every day.
parks, you mean?
Yes.
I enjoy watching in
Yes.
skateboard parks.
Yes, exactly. I think that would be something that would be worthwhile to add to that. We had left the public hearing open. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to address this application? Seeing none, do we have anybody online? We do not. Okay, then I will close the public hearing. We do have, this is an unlisted action under seeker, correct?
Yes.
So we do have to go through the seeker short form and the questions that are accompanying it. We have received responses from all the noticed agencies who would
Right.
be, who would have any. The only one we have not gotten back, and Kathy just stepped out,
I have.
was Department of State, is that
Right.
correct? So
So
technically, I think we're.
Last month, we had a resolution for the planning board to declare itself lead agency to conduct the seeker. Notices were sent to the City of Glens Falls Common Council, City of Glens Falls Zoning Board of Appeals, Glens Falls Industrial Development Agency, Glens Falls Local Development Corporation, Warren County Planning Agency, the New York State Empire Development Corporation, New York State Department of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, and New York State Department of State. Everyone has responded that there is no objection to the planning board declaring lead agency. We're still waiting on a response from the New York State Department of State, and their time expires in 2 days. Therefore, if we conduct seeker today, it would be conditioned upon either the expiration of the 30-day time limit or response from New York State Department of State.
Okay.
So with respect to seeker, I would classify this as an unlisted action. We are required to read into the record and answer the Part 2 impact assessment.
So we're looking for answers to these questions from all boards and professions.
Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation?
No.
No. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of the use of land?
No.
No. Will the proposed action impair the quality or character of the existing community?
No, we're looking the answer.
Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
No.
No.
Not really.
Will the proposed proposed action causes an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities.
No, it's a low energy building.
Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies,
No,
public-private wastewater treatment utilities?
no,
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of an important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
no,
Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources such as wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, or fauna?
no,
Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, drainage, or problems?
no,
Will the proposed action create a hazard in environmental resources or human health?
no,
Based upon the board's answer to all of the questions, the board could issue a negative declaration on motion.
So if we make this, we want to make this conditional on,
The expiration of the 30 days or receipt of notice from the Department of State that they have no objection to the planning board declaring lead agency.
okay, so then I would make a motion, the Glens Falls Planning Board hereby accepts lead agency status for the applicant, which is the city of Glens Falls. The city of Glens Falls Market Center, owner or agent of the property located at 51 to 63 South Street. The board has determined the action to be an unlisted action and has reviewed the short form environmental assessment form, and upon documentation discussion issues a negative declaration with the condition that we have a 2-day remaining time frame on the notices to the involved agencies, and that we either have that time expire to the 30 days or get a non-jurisdictional determination from the Department of State.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Do we want to hold off on signing that until after this?
I just listed the conditions.
Bells toll.
Yes.
Just because the bells toll.
Those times like this.
Ask not.
That's for who that bell tolls.
So if we have no other discussion on this, we're all good to move forward, then I would make a motion that the Glens Falls Planning Board, acting as the Board of Architectural and Site Plan Review, hereby grants architectural and site plan approval for the project identified as City of Glens Falls Market Center to be located at 51 to 63 South Street as presented at the meeting of 4 April 2023, subject to no amendments other than you're going to look at that one little wall and see what you can do about putting those little pieces on there.
Sure.
Other than that, we're good to move forward. Can I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, members, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Moving on our agenda, we move into new business. First item of new business is site plan review 230004 pursuant to City Code Chapter 220-20C, subsection 4, Michael Dinsmore, applicant regarding tax map number 303.18-18-4, commonly known as 240 Warren Street, is seeking site plan review and approval for a change in use from a restaurant to a retail space. This also has a sign review with it pursuant to City Code 180-6, Michael Dinsmore, applicant regarding tax map number 303.18-18-4, commonly known as 20 Warren Street, is seeking approval for a sign at this location. Is there anybody here representing? Please join us.
Everybody. Representing myself.
Representing yourself.
So, yeah, I'm Mike Dinsmore, and just a little bit about myself. I'm a school administrator. I work up at Mariah Central School.
Okay.
And then I also have a couple of businesses that I've had for a little while up at the Aviation Mall. So the business, particularly the phone repair business that I have, phone and tech repair, that business recently closed at that location. Not of my own. I didn't want to close it there. I had thought about closing it there
Yeah.
and moving out of the mall, but I had to move with about 5 days notice at the mall. So anyway, I was in search of a new location. 240 Warren Street came up, and there's really not much to be done there. It looks, it's all set up to have as a retail space there. So it would be partly retail space, selling phone accessories, phone cases, buying and selling phones, all those kinds of things. But we also do repairs. So this will give me an opportunity to also open it up and do other kinds of tech repairs, computers, gaming systems, things like that. But it's about 1,100 square foot. There's a lot of parking along the side. There's a ton of parking in the back, that kind of thing. And so that's the one piece. The other piece is obviously be able to get some signage up there, and that would involve a 2x8 sign in the center, and then a couple of smaller signs. They're round signs. Everything kind of coordinates, color coordinates and that kind of thing. They're kind of simple signs, but they do light up. They're LED, lit up by LED.
Internally then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The center sign will shine light more kind of on the back,
Yeah.
from the back side. The other ones, you could see them from the front.
Yeah.
Kind of like that acrylic
Yeah.
on the front where there's line, the light will shine through that way. So, but yeah, anyway, they look very nice, in my opinion.
So-
Okay.
In general then, not a lot of alterations to the building, you're pretty much moving in and.
Yeah, there's no
That's it.
alterations or really anything involved in that, other than just, fixing the signage to the front, which we'd obviously have professionally done and that sort of thing. Something I'm not gonna do.
You'll deal with fixing the phones, you won't deal with.
Yeah, I don't do that piece, yeah, so.
Very good. Is there anyone from the public who would wish to speak on this application? Anything online? Nothing there. Then I will start with our board and get some comments from our board.
Yes, can
I'll
I,
start with-
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Good. No, go ahead.
I just wanted to throw something out there too, is I just, it's not included with what you have there, but I did just get, like renderings of some, just stuff that I could put on the windows to advertise a little bit of what we do, which I could show you.
Mhm.
I don't know how you guys proceed with that sort of thing, if that's
That's
something.
considered signage?
Right, I do understand that, so I didn't know if that was something you wanted to see, you were willing to entertain now,
It
or?
would have to come as a separate application, because these applications have already been filed and noticed.
Okay.
And for us to expand on that without having notice of it, we
Yeah.
really need to make sure that that's noticed publicly.
Okay, that's fair,
So it would, I think it would have to come as a separate application.
okay.
Okay.
I was thinking that was the answer, probably. I had to try.
You're hoping. Mr. Lanfear, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I might have missed, are these signs illuminated?
They are illuminated, yes. Yeah. So, go ahead.
Well, I'm just curious, is there any other, whatever your hours of operation are there any other soft lighting, for, dark and nighttime, application as far as,
Well-
with your parking areas and so on? Is there anything that you would be adding to that, to your facade in the front or anything like that?
There's no plan to add anything else with lighting. There is like a small, that would hang from the inside that would say open, like, one of the
Yeah.
open signs. That's pretty much it. But it's not really anything that would be affixed to the building or anything like
Yeah,
that.
it looks like from the pictures, there's like 3 or 4 of the gooseneck lights that kind of light the front of the.
Yeah,
building already.
so there's a conduit, electrical conduit that runs right across there, and those fixed lights,
Yeah.
so they would come down,
Okay.
and where the two side lights are, you'll see the round signs up in their place,
Yeah.
and then the rectangular 2x8 sign will be in the center.
Okay.
So that's the idea of it. But there's a lot of lighting there on Warren, of course, too, so,
Yeah, you can land in your right
Pretty much.
I'm good with that.
All set?
Thank you.
Ms. Andrews?
If I recall, there's apartments upstairs,
There are, yes.
and there'll continue to be apartments?
Yes, and I don't own the building, that would be the intent, I believe, is just to keep those as, I'm just leasing that space underneath, but yeah, I believe the intent is to keep those as apartments.
Okay. Just for my clarification, it's my understanding that they don't want any new food or restaurants in light industrial area. So does that mean that this will never be a food place again?
Not coming back here?
I do believe, I know the owner was intending to be here, is not here, but
Yeah.
from my conversations is that there is no intention of having any kind of food, So they had the two restaurants
Yeah.
there, that the owner did, and they have no interest in having a restaurant there at this time.
Yeah, so.
I'm speaking for them, of course, but.
I mean, it's forever probably without variance and all.
Well, it would have, yeah, I mean, I think that that's an approved use in the LI zone.
Yeah. it is.
So as long as it's an approved use in the LI zone, then
Restaurants.
it can still be there. It hasn't been taken out of the code at this
Oh,
point.
I thought it had been.
No.
Okay.
So it would help.
I live in that neighborhood and I like eating there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to revert back to
To
a
revert back
restaurant,
to a
it would have to come back.
Okay.
I didn't eat the last place, I heard that was great, but I have had the pizza there, and that was really, that was quite good.
Yeah, thanks. Other than that, I think it's great, and the signage and the lighting and all that sounds like it's covered.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
No
Ms.
questions or comments?
Okay.
Ms. Murphy?
Nope, I'll be glad to see something go in there, I think it'll be a good fit.
Yeah, well, thanks, I'm really excited about it. I actually do, I do think what we're doing does kind of fit that area pretty well too. I think it'll make it look nice.
Yeah, the only thing I had is the round signs, you have a picture of them here. Now, are they just gonna be like flat on the building, or are they gonna be perpendicular, so?
They're not gonna, I had that option, but I didn't take that option. So they're round signs, they only come out like a little bit, like if it was a rectangular, you see those in a lot of places, but yeah, so they're gonna be affixed to it, right? And they will,
Flat on the building.
yeah, so the intent, if I go right where those lights are, they will need to stand off just a tiny bit so they sit nice and flat over the top of that conduit.
Right.
So that's pretty much.
So
all
the
we're
round
doing.
signs are on each side of the big rectangle.
Yeah, right where you see those, from the pictures, you may see those lights, they'll be, the intent is to have those round ones right on either side, and then that rectangular one in the center.
Sure.
Yeah, so,
All right, that's great to me.
okay, well, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
I had no additional questions as well. I think that what you're doing is, great use for that space, and there's certainly plenty of parking down there, and I think the lighting is completely appropriate, so. We do have a seeker, I believe.
With respect to seeker, I would classify this as a type 2 action under 617.5C2, as it is rehab or reconstruction of a structure or facility on the same site. It's a change in use, therefore no further action is required.
Okay. And we do have a referral from the Warren County Planning Department that the applicant proposed a change of use for the ground floor of a previous cafe to accommodate a business that will provide the sale and repair of mobile phones and other tech equipment, as well as t-shirt sales at 240 Warren Street with the tax lot number included, and there is no county impact according to county staff. So therefore, Ms. Murray, would you like to
Sure.
make a motion on this?
I'd like to make a motion that the Glens Falls Planning Board hereby, are acting as the Board of Site Plan Review, hereby grant architectural, or site plan approval and change in use from restaurant to retail space for the project identified as 240 Warren Street. I'm sorry, as Michael Dinsmore, located at 240 Warren Street on today's date, April 4th, 2023.
Can we amend that to include the sign as well?
Yes.
So say,
Site plan and sign approval.
yes. All good? Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Got it?
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I'll plan on being here next month.
Yes, yeah,
So, yeah.
with the additional stuff in the front.
Yeah.
Sign.
So, yeah, I'll provide photos and I'll whatever you need, so.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next item on our new business agenda is sign review number 230002 pursuant to City Code Chapter 180-6. Nick Leo is seeking sign approval for his business located on tax parcel number 303.17-22-1, commonly known as 211 Maple Street.
How are you?
Well, how are you this afternoon, Nick?
Good. I'm actually Brody Hayes. I'm here for Nicholas Leo.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, I just don't know, I think there was a picture sent in with it as to what we're looking to do here. It's a 4x4 lit sign. Yep, that's it. 4x4 lit sign facing that Maple Street, facing Sully's, basically, just so that people know where the entrance is, where we're located, all that kind of stuff. So it is lit. It's a layered plexiglass sign, so there's a bit of airspace between the building and the sign itself, so you can access the LED lights behind it if they need to be repaired or changed or anything like that. But yeah, that's basically what we're looking to do.
So it's basically internally lit, it's
Yep.
not lit from the outside.
Correct. Yep.
All right, is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this application? Seeing none, anybody online? Nope. Okay, I will start with Mr. Belden. Any comments on this application?
Is this already up there?
No, that's a mock-up picture. Yep, we actually, I have a,
No, it's fine.
I got a proof from Adirondack Sign, so that's basically what we took that from, so that we could put it on the, show you kind of where we wanted it on the building.
Looks great. Good luck with the business. I don't have any real comments.
Thank you.
Is this building attached to the North Country Snow and Ice?
It is not.
The next one over?
Yep, yep, it's
Yeah.
that cement parking, North Country, if you're looking at it, North Country Snow and Ice is here, there's an airspace in that building.
Yeah, that's the one right next to it.
Yep, yep.
Is that where Interiors by Dawn used to be?
I'm not sure, maybe a while
Right,
ago.
right next door to that one, yeah, okay. All set? Ms. Murphy?
I agree, I have no concerns or comments.
Ms. Helen?
No questions or comments?
My only question is, one place it's called 211 Maple, and the other place it's 213, is it both, or?
The mailing, basically the way it is, the mailing goes to 213, but that portion is down the road a little bit.
One is the
Yeah.
address of the owner, one is the address of the applicant.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay, gotcha, thank you. That's all, thank you.
All good? All good. I as well had no major comments on it. I like the fact that it's internally illuminated rather than having to have a light hanging out over the top, and I think that would be beneficial to you. I think we've got a seeker to look for on this.
No
Type,
secrets.
no seeker on this one. It is,
I would classify it as a type
As a
2, no
type
further
2.
action is required.
Could I quickly, the sign permit is all we use here, so it doesn't give me a place to explain. Obviously, the sign's not very big. He actually is adding this and already has a sign. So that's why this is before you, because it's technically the.
technically a second.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, no problem. Thank you. Then I would make a motion that the Glens Falls Planning Board, acting as a board of sign review, hereby grants sign approval for the project identified as Nick Leo Overtime Auto Works located at 211 Maple Street, as presented at the meeting for April 2023, no conditions. Take a second.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
You're all set. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Okay. Next item under new business is lot line adjustment 23-0001 for Reese Rudolph, owner of tax map number 303.17-10-12, commonly known as 29 Pearl Street, and tax parcel number 303.17-10-14, commonly known as 23 to 25 Pearl Street, seeking approval for lot line adjustment. Certainly.
My name's David Hutchinson, I'm representing Reese Rudolph. He's also here tonight if we need to ask him any questions. So we're asking for an approval of a lot line adjustment between two items, two parcels we have indicated on the second site plan you have. One is 31 Lawrence Street, and the second is, parcel B is 23 Pearl Street. Presently, they share a lot line, and Mr. Rudolph owns both lots. Basically, to break it down to a simple explanation, Reese has done a lot of work on Pearl Street building, has fully restored that 8-unit apartment building. You're probably very familiar with it. It's a really beautiful building, brick building on Pearl Street. He's done a lot of work to that, and it's now presently doesn't have a lot of parking on site, and so people are forced to park in the street, etc. So the parcel A is a 2-story single-family home that he owns and is renovating as well, and so we're trying to allow parcel B to adjust that lot line, staying outside of the setback required for parcel A, and get some more parking and get those cars off the street and into the parking area for parcel B.
At this point, correct me if I'm wrong, at this point, we're just looking at the lot line adjustment. We're not really looking at site plan review or
Correct.
anything that would go along with that. We're just, in order to do that, we would have to have an application for site plan review as well. The only application I think that we have tonight, correct me if I'm wrong, is the lot line adjustment. Correct? Correct. So for the actual site plan, for the enlargement of the parking area and that kind of stuff, that would be a separate application.
Okay.
Back to us for that. But this is just for the lot line adjustment, which is technically subdivision. So. Okay. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this application? Please. Anybody on? There's not. There's not. Okay, then I will start with, did I start with you last time? Did I start with him?
Sure.
I'll start with you this time.
Where the, as far as survey wise, has there been a survey yet, to validate what the lot line, new lot lines are gonna be?
The survey is of the existing property as it is now. We use that information in computer to create the second plan that you have.
Okay.
It has not been, they did not go back out and state that potential yet.
So in other words, the final survey has yet to be done. It would not be done until this approval takes place.
Correct. But the proposed action is done using that survey, electronic survey.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Ingram?
No questions?
Ms. Feldman?
No questions or
Ms. Murray?
No, I don't think so. It seems like it would make sense to have it like that. What is it now? Is that just a big yard back there?
It's a portion of it's parking, let's say half of it is parking now, directly pulling towards the back of the yard. And then there's a couple kind of, as we would call them, scrub trees. They're sort of old and unarbored. And then it's just grass and sort of wooded area without trees. The next trees are within the next yard behind it.
The next street over. Check.
Yeah.
But we're going to be at, all for more parking, it looks like you guys have a great plan, you know, and to have it so people in these buildings have good parking and they're off the street, then, you know, you can end up with, I don't wanna say better tenants, but somebody that really wants to be there. In the downtown location, parking is a big thing, so, it looks great.
That's sort of part of the master plan, is to really improve the building and then give them the facilities they need and make it a better place to live, for sure.
Great. Yeah, I had nothing else as well. I mean, I know that it looks like the lot size that's being created is a conforming lot. That's the one question I had when I first saw this, is that we don't create a lot that's a non-conforming lot, so I think we're okay there. Obviously, the final survey map obviously has to come stamped from the surveyor.
Yep.
So based on that, I think we're okay with it. I think it's a great use of the property to, you know, I think it's a great solution to the problem that you've got. It's not very often that we get somebody who comes in who owns the two parcels that we're dealing with. A lot of times they want to do something, but they have to deal with, you know, an adjoining neighbor. Here, it's great that Reese has the control of both properties to be able to do this. I just think it makes sense to do that.
Great.
Great. As far as seeker goes with our
With respect to seeker, I would classify it as a type 2 under 617.5C16, as it is the granting of an individual setback and lot line variance and adjustments. Therefore, no further action is required.
Very good. This is going to fall under, we really don't have this on our resolution, but it's, yeah, I think it's going to fall under that. Yeah. So I make a motion that the Glens Falls Planning Board hereby approve the lot line adjustment for the property identified as the owner, Reese Rudolph, owner of tax map number 303.17-10-12, commonly known as 29 Pearl Street, and the tax parcel 303.17-10-14, commonly known as 23 and 25 Pearl Streets, and we hereby 31 Lawrence Street, yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah, it's written wrong in the thing. And we hereby approve the lot line adjustment as presented at the meeting for April 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You all set?
Thank you all for your time.
Yep, get that subdivision map done by, is Bill gonna do the subdivision map, Bill work?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so get that done by them, and then it gets filed, and I'll have to sign off on all the subdivision. Yep. Yep. Once that's all put together, we'll get it signed off on, and that way it can get filed with the county.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, thank you. Next item on our new business agenda is another lot line adjustment, 23-0002, Eric Heim, owner of tax map number 303.18-18-4, commonly known as 240 Warren Street, and tax parcel number 303.18-18-5, commonly known as 246 Warren Street, and tax map number 303.18.18-3, property located at the corner of Gear and Parkman Streets, and seeking approval of a lot line adjustment for these. Is there anyone here representing that application? Absolutely, please.
I'm Don Darrow with Darrow Answering. Mr. Heim is not here, and I wasn't aware that Mr. Heim would be on here twice tonight.
And not be here forever.
Exactly.
So, Don, what we've got going on here is basically 3 parcels, and according to your map, you kind of got the way it's broken out. A chunk of the back portion is being flipped to one of the other ones. Is that how I gather that?
There's 3 existing parcels now. In the back is the Gear Street lot as parking and a metal building or garage.
Right.
Okay. Mr. Heim would like to take those 3 parcels and then split it perpendicular with, to Warren Street, create 2 parcels, eliminate 1 tax parcel.
Okay, so we're basically taking that one that's in the back and creating 2 new parcels.
Yes.
Yeah, and each one of the Warren Street properties gets
Exactly.
half of whatever's left back there.
Correct.
That seems pretty straightforward. Is there anybody from the public who wishes to speak on this application? Seeing none, do we have anybody online? No? Okay. Mr. Belden, any comments or questions on the application?
It looks pretty straightforward, and I haven't seen any issues with it.
Ms. Burke?
I agree.
Ms. Dunn?
No questions or comments?
Ms. Dunn?
No questions?
I really had nothing either. I mean, I think that it certainly makes sense. He owns all 3 properties.
Correct.
Tired of getting 3 tax parcels, and 3 tax bills. I think it makes sense to cut them this way, and again, we're not creating any non-conforming lots. Everything actually, I think, becomes more conforming than it might have been before, and we certainly have a decent amount of coverage for each one of those. That being said,
With respect to seeker, again, I would classify it as a type 2 action under section 617.5C16. The board is granting an individual setback and lot line variance and/or adjustment. Therefore, no further action is required.
thank you. And as we had done previously, I make a motion that the Glens Falls Planning Board hereby approves the lot line adjustment for the owner, Eric Heim, owner of tax map numbers, I'm going to give them all to you at the same time, 303.18-18-4, 303.18-18-5, and 303.18-18-3, all in the Warren Street and Gear and Hartman Street area. And we grant the lot line adjustment as presented at the meeting for April 2023. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
You're all set. Thanks, Tom. It is good. It's the lights. The next item on our agenda is a twofer. We have a site plan and an architectural review. Site plan review number 230005 and architectural review number 230003. Pursuant to City Code Section 220-20, subsection C and D, Units 1 and 4. Eric Unkoff, owner of tax map number 303.17-13-15, commonly known as 182 Maple Street, is seeking site plan and architectural review for approval of new uses, including retail, bike repair, and art studios, and for architectural review for approval of exterior alterations, including installation of several new doors, platforms, and stairs and walkways. Mr. Unkoff. Good evening.
Hi there.
So you got a building that you want to play around
What's
with?
that? I didn't want that building, but it's adjacent to my other building, so what am I gonna do? So the building is split up very strange right now. It's basically at 4 different levels, so it actually makes sense to, and there's actually masonry, like 10-inch masonry walls running crosswise across the building already. So it's like kind of a natural fit to kind of put entrance doors on the east side of it with exit doors on the west side of it, and just finish out those partitions. And essentially at that point it'll be like 4 separate conjoined buildings, because essentially that's what it was. It started as a house that they did an addition on, that they did an addition on, that they did an addition on, and they
It looks like it's
Well, no, it looks like it, and inside it's kind of all goofy with ramps that come up and then to a level and then back down, so it's like designed by Dr. Seuss.
So for the most part, this is all interior alterations except for the doors?
Yeah, except for the doors, right, exactly.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak? One person left in the audience. Is there anybody online? Nobody online? I do have some comments from Mr. Brown, our architectural consultant.
Sure.
Pretty straightforward stuff. It's for the record, the applicant's plan should indicate or label what's new and what exists. Trash and snow disposition, exterior lighting, etc., all in accordance with the city's published submittal requirements. Are the parking spaces to be shared with 188 Maple Street?
Right, but the parking spaces that we're putting in here don't actually exist right now.
Correct.
So we're losing 2, but gaining 14, so it's a net of 12.
Right.
And right now, Community Action parks their trucks in front of this garage building. We're actually going to have them move it back behind Glens Falls Produce, where it's just, they've got their trucks there too. So it's it just kind of make it a little nicer visually out here. It's just cars instead of having trucks out there too.
So they won't necessarily.
So basically the only thing we're adding besides the doors and the windows is there'll be a pathway that comes down here that doesn't exist right now.
Gotcha.
But we'll green up this area here, which right now it's just kind of like hard pans. nothing grows there.
Yeah. Okay. Although both lots are currently owned by the same entity, there should be some form of written agreement or required deed clause that maintains such privilege if the current owner sells 188 to a different entity in the future. I'm not sure how that would, is there some kind of a cross-lot easement that would have to be done? I mean, they're all owned by the same property owner now.
Actually, in the code, it does specify that, in the written code of the
Right.
city.
Right,
To
for
share
shared parking.
Yes, it
Right.
does need to, one, be owned by the same owner, but that clause, that's something needs to be.
Okay. So, I guess that there would have to be some kind of a deed.
Or agreement, written agreement.
Written agreement, so I think it's just a
Written
letter.
agreement with myself. Okay.
Yes.
A written, from yourself to yourself, to agree for ingress and egress, just in
Well,
case.
if there's a whatever, if there's some sort of example or something I can give.
Yeah, I think, did we have one?
Wasn't the market center? No, not the market center, Indachio.
No, I don't remember who it was, but we had one that was, we can, I'm sure.
I mean, just give it, so I can give it to the lawyer to
Yeah,
draft
it's
something.
just
like,
basically
How
a,
many parking spaces are there now?
Formally, none. I mean, they used to just, actually, before, I purchased the other building here that, a couple owners ago, they used to just park wherever, and technically they didn't have access, they couldn't get there without cutting through the neighboring property. So technically, there really weren't any parking spaces before,
right, so
even though they, made their own.
the land is there, you're just more clearly defining.
Right. Actually, it's already paved too.
Yeah.
The paving's there. Actually, if anything, we're taking out a little bit of paving here
Right.
at the end of the day and making more green. So,
Out of the code, have we figured out how many spaces are required? Retail
so the way I
parking?
looked at it is the rear 3 spaces
Yeah.
are basically manufacturing. So it's glass blowing. It's a weaving studio, and the one that does the bicycle repair, it's usually just one person in there, because the people that are coming client-wise, they're coming because they don't have a vehicle. So I figured like 2, 2, and 2 on that, so that's 6. And then in the front, only maybe half of that front space is actually gonna be retail, so another couple there, you know,
Well,
so it's like,
You need one space per 200 square feet of gross floor area plus one space per employee for your retail business, store, or service shop. And under manufacturing, you need one space per number of employees on the largest shift, or 800 square feet of gross floor area.
right, and
whichever
those spaces
employee-
in back are 1,500 square feet, so they're below.
It'd be
So it's two, however which way you count it, and they're, you know, they're like two-person operations, other than the bicycle one, which is a one-person operation. So, and we're adjacent to, I mean, you gotta remember here too, I'm adjacent to 5 other parking lots within the block.
Right.
That's under my ownership as well, so I mean, parking is like not the big issue here, I don't think.
Well, I just think for the planning board purposes, you need to know how many are required, and you can certainly, when you do your, approval or denial, you can address the parking, but if the front section is 1,000 square feet and that's retail storage, I think you need 5 spaces for that built use.
Well, it's not, only the front room of that is gonna be retail, the
It
rest
says
of it.
1,000 square feet, retail / storage.
Right, so
So-
some of it's warehouse. Like about half of it is warehouse, half of
I'm
it is
just going by your
retail.
application.
Okay, that's
It says
fine.
front
Of the-
section,
that's
1,000
fine.
square feet, retail / storage.
Of the 1,000 square feet that's there, how much of that is?
So
retail?
about 500 square foot retail, 500 square foot storage.
Okay.
So I think you need 2 for the retail plus 1 employee, and then under warehouse, you need 1 space per 1,000. So you need, for the first use, you need 4 total spaces.
Yep.
Under section 2, the 1,000 square feet bike repair and storage, I believe your requirement is 2 spaces. 1,500 square feet weaving and textiles, I believe you need 2 spaces. Rear section, 1,500 square feet, glass blowing studio, no retail there?
No,
Okay, 2 spaces. I
So
think
that's a total of 10.
yes.
And
10.
there's 14 being.
right.
Could I add, to consider, and I don't mean to, the repair, would that not be more of a service as opposed to manufacturing?
Well, no, because what he's doing is he's not taking bikes and off the street and repairing them. They're getting bikes from the police department that are abandoned and refurbishing them, and then just basically giving them away to people that have their 120-day chip.
So that needed further clarification, thank you.
Yep. Okay. So with that being said, 10 are required, 14 are provided, I think we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go back to Mr. Brown's list, because that was what triggered this whole thing. Yes, snow removal and garbage removal, I'm assuming is all part of what takes place at Epic.
Right, so, the snow is just gonna get plowed forward, you know, back here, so there's another 25 feet here, it would just get plowed back into this area here.
Yep.
And then,
So snow
Gar-
removal is on site.
snow removal's on site, yeah. Garbage, I provide a dumpster for them, it's actually not on site, it's actually on an adjacent property that provides a dumpster,
Okay.
common dumpster. Yeah.
Okay. The applicant should indicate and confirm whether or not all proposed doors are being installed in exterior wall openings or if new openings are being cut into the existing walls.
So there are no existing openings.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're all new openings?
They're all new openings, and they're all through non-load bearing wall.
Right.
I don't know why they did it the way they did it, but, they're like, let's go the long way with the trusses.
They run
the length of the building, which is
perpendicular
kind
to-
of, yeah, so
to
those exterior walls just are keeping the weather out, that's basically what they're doing.
All right, so the only thing that's gonna have to be in there is a lintel to hold up.
Yeah,
brick
yeah, it
block.
doesn't really have to be much of a lintel, because like I said, it's just holding whatever's above it, which is not much.
Yeah, Exterior entries and exits should be covered by a roof. Any snow fall off the roof, everything, it's pretty much flat roof, right?
Right, so there's no, right, the roof is pitched from the front of the building to the back of the building, so there's not gonna be any natural snow. If there's snow falling, it's gonna go off the back of the building, it's not gonna come to either side. I mean, certainly we can provide a overhang, but there's nothing gonna come from the roof,
Right.
certainly.
Yeah, I think it's more for, you know, for rain or for snow
Yeah.
that's falling, for accumulating in front of the door. I think that's always happening.
Yeah,
And that's a building code requirement.
Right.
Not necessarily something-
Well, Steve Naku is working on the drawings for the building, so I'm sure they'll have that in the actual thing that goes to buildings and codes at some point.
Exterior entries and exits require exterior lighting. Again, that's something that would be on that building plan. Exterior lighting should be described. So I'm assuming that if we're doing an exterior canopy.
Right, I mean, it's just gonna be like, you know, wall packs under there. nothing-
Single bulb,
Yeah.
something that's gonna be right there. What entries and exits should be handicap accessible, if any?
As far as I know, we're not doing any, I mean, it's basically gonna be 4 separate buildings when we're done.
Right.
And the floor area in each one, I mean, the biggest floor area is 1,500 square feet, so I think that's under the threshold, right? Isn't 6,000 the threshold, or what is it?
Well, anything that's 3,000 square feet or above, but these are all also not really public
No.
spaces, correct? I mean, this is
Right,
for-
other than the front one, which has got a handicap ramp to it already.
Okay.
Yeah,
Up front has a ramp.
has a ramp, yeah, existing ramp.
Okay. Any other window changes or any changes to the exterior finishes? Those are the last two comments.
Not right now, no.
So any of those that would take place at that point would be above and beyond what this application covers.
Correct.
Okay. Was there anybody from the public that wished to comment on these applications? I can't remember if I asked that question already or not. Not seeing any. Nobody online that we're looking for. Okay. I will start with Mr. Lanfear.
I think Mr. Brown really covered most of the issues, you know, and with the parking, I think he's gonna get it going on. I approve.
Is there?
It's a great use of the space. I'd just like to see pictures, but those are forthcoming.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
No questions or comments?
Is there? Ms. Murray?
No, I think it's a nice use of the space as well.
Great use of space, and Mr. Brown covered so much, for what's going on in the neighborhood over there. You're just bringing that dynamic, expanding on that dynamic.
Mhm.
I think it's great.
I as well. I mean, you know, it's a building that's been underutilized for
A long time.
a long time. And I'm glad to see that a property owner within the city who is, you know, acquiring more of these properties that seem to be neglected, I won't say abandoned, but neglected and have been historically used as catch-alls, I'll say, that taking those and starting to rehab them. And I think that you've got a proven track record that shows that what you do with your buildings when you get them is take them, update them, get them so that they're usable by multiple different tenants. And the fact that you've opened those tenants up or opened these smaller spaces up to somebody that's going to be able to use them, especially the guy with the bike, I think that's a great use of the space. So.
What was, not that that's good, what was the last thing in there?
Donahue and Higgins,
Yeah.
Candy.
Oh, okay, that's right, that's
So,
right.
yeah, it was just basic, that's how they could get away with the ramps, because, I mean, they really weren't moving anything heavy.
Right.
You know, they're just a little hand cart, like,
Yeah.
you know, moving a box of candy here and there. So,
Yeah, there was not really a whole lot of heavy lifting going on in there. That being said,
With respect to seeker, I would classify this as a type 2 action as it's replacement, rehab, or reconstruction of the structure or facility in kind on the same site, and it does not exceed any threshold. Therefore, no further action is required.
This project was referred to the Warren County Planning Department, project Eric Unkoff, Leonard Cooper, and Lawrence LLC. The applicant proposes dividing the building into 4 additional rental spaces to include glass blowing, weiring, bike repair, shop, and retail storage. The project would include adding steel and glass doors and 3 wood platforms. Site location 182 Maple Street. Tax map number is listed, and there is no county impact noted. With that, what's seeker to do? And I guess, Ms. Murray, would you like to do a architectural and site plan?
Absolutely. I'd like to make a motion of the Glens Falls Planning Board, acting as the Board of Architectural and Site Plan Review, hereby grant architectural and site plan approval for the project identified as 182 Maple Street, tax map number 303.17-13-15, and owner Aaron Unkoff, and located at 182 Maple Street, as presented at the meeting of April 4th, 2023.
Very good. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it. And I believe, can I get you out of here, Bruce? Is there anything else that we have for the good of the group? I think we're all set. Kathleen, do you have anything more? Catherine, I'm sorry. Do you have nothing else?
I have nothing else.
Okay.
Bye.
Then I think we are all set. I will accept the motion to adjourn.